What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Tony Reads. Okay, so in today's video, I just want to talk about the books that I've read so far in April. April has been a really awesome reading month. I have to say, I think I loved every single book. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, every single book that I've read so far. And the other good part about it is that two of the books that I read are actually on my Kindle, which I'm so excited about. I love my Kindle Paperwhite so much, you guys just don't even know. I have like a stack of print books that I just want to read and just get out the way and just like give them away and get them out of my space or whatever. Because I am a total Kindle person for real. I mean, it's just like so convenient. I just love it. But anyway, I don't want to get into that. I just want to talk about the books that I read so far. So the first book that I want to start with is from one of my favorite authors, and that is Riley Sager. I've had this book actually for a while, for at least like maybe 2 or 3 months. And for some reason, it kept getting pushed like on the back burner. I don't know why, but I finally read it and it was well worth it. And that is Survive the Night. So this book, I told you guys, the summary, and a lot of you guys probably know, and a lot of you guys probably already read it. I don't think this is like a real new book or anything like that, but this is a great book. It's one of my favorites, actually, by Riley Sager. I mean, it's just good. I just love it. So this book takes place in 1991. So if you're somebody like me who loves the 90s, you can really like kind of relate to it. So anyway, and you guys, I'm just gonna say right now, my memory sometimes is not the best. And as you guys know, I get names and stuff mixed up. So if I say the names wrong or whatever, just, whatever. So there's the main character, which I'm surprised I remember. Her name is Charlie. And these people are like college age people. And then she has a boyfriend named Robbie, I believe. And then so I'll just tell you how it takes place. So Survive Night, as you can see on the cover, if you can see it, there's like a creepy looking car. It's at night, of course, Survive the Night. These orangish colored lights. It looks like really, kind of scary or whatever. And so what takes place is Charlie, she goes to a college, a university. And I want to tell you guys too, let me just put this out there. No spoilers. I don't give away no plots or anything like that. I just tell you guys the basis of the book and then what my thoughts are. If I ever do spoilers, I'll let you know ahead of time. So, like I said, Charlie goes to a university. I can't remember what it's called. It's somewhere like on the East Coast or maybe like the Midwest or something. And she has had a friend named Maddie, I believe, who died like not too long ago, like some months ago or whatever. But anyway, so Charlie's just like, she's all depressed and, whatever. And she just feels like she wants to leave the university for good and just doesn't want to come back there, like too many bad memories or whatever. She wants to do something else with her life. And so she's leaving. Unfortunately, it's like before Thanksgiving. So nobody else is leaving the college at this time. They're all waiting until they do their finals and stuff. But she just wants to leave right now. She doesn't care. And so her boyfriend, Robbie, he can't leave at the time because he, of course, wants to finish out the semester or whatever. And she's like, yeah, whatever, I still want to go. So she, like in college, they have those boards or whatever. I don't know if they still do this. When I was in college, they did. Or, you pull a little tab or something. Somebody wants a ride somewhere or whatever the case may be. And so she put her name up on the board that she wanted to get a ride to city XYZ. I don't remember what it is. Somewhere that's hours away. And she wanted to catch a ride with somebody if they were going that way. So as she was putting the information up, a guy comes up named, I can't remember his name is Josh or Jake. And he's like, I'm going that way or whatever, you can ride with me. And so they meet, at the next day or something that night, and they end up in the car. And so I know you guys probably think, oh, this doesn't even sound good. You guys, I'm telling you, this book was a total page turner, because from the jump, like I literally, when I was reading, I was like, I want to know what's going to be the plot twist and what's going to happen and why. And Riley Sager's really good at leading you down all these paths and stuff. And so that you start, of course, when you read good thrillers anyway, you're thinking that you know what's going to happen and the reason why, and you're like totally wrong. And so anyway, they're riding, and one thing about Maddie is because of her not emotional, mental situation or whatever, probably like from her past, and in addition because her friend got murdered, and she felt like it was her fault. She has like these dreams, like, you know, it's not like she goes to sleep at night, has a dream. Like it could really literally happen in the middle of the day. She'll like go into this zone where she's like dreaming something, and then it's hard for her to decipher what's real and what's not real, what's the dream or whatever. And so another thing about her friend dying is that Maddie, I don't know if I said this already, she also kind of felt like it was her fault because they were like at some bar or whatever, and Maddie wanted to stay and Charlie left her. She didn't want to stay anymore and she left. And so Maddie ended up getting murdered after that. And so Charlie kind of felt like it was her fault. But anyway, so she's riding with this guy, and it's like this whole, I don't want to say like cat and mouse, but it's like, I don't know, just you going in and out, it's like, is this guy really crazy or is he not crazy? And that's what the twist is. Is he the serial killer? Because there was a serial killer that was on the loose, and they think he did something, like he left, like when he killed the women, it was all women, he would like take their tooth and like leave it somewhere or something like that. Or I don't know if he even left it somewhere. I think he kept it, but he would pull one of their teeth. Because that's how they knew it was like, or they hoped they knew it was the same killer or whatever. So anyway, it's just like going down this whole path. And I will say, and I know you guys probably think this is boring, I will say most of the book takes place in the car. But it's not like boring, like they're just riding. They're like having conversation with each other, and it just has you going like, what the heck is going on or whatever. I'm telling you guys, I don't even know how to explain this book. It's really weird. It's different than anything I've ever read. But it's not so crazy like where Riley Sager's trying to do all these plot twists to the point where you're like, okay, what the heck did I just read? I don't get it or anything like that. But it is a page turner, and it really makes you want to get to the end to get it figured out. So anyway, part of it, they end up stopping at this diner. They're like all in the dark in the woods. Nobody's really around and stuff. And, just all this craziness or whatever. And Josh or Jake, whatever his name is, he's trying to make her think sometimes, like when she says something, that she was actually dreaming and whatever she's saying didn't really happen, and just all kinds of stuff, you guys. I can't even really explain it. But anyway, the whole thing is her trying to sit there and wonder if the guy that she's riding with is actually this serial killer. And so that's like what the summary of the book is. But I'm telling you guys, it's not going to turn out the way you may think it is. It's a really, really good book, and that's all I can say. I actually highly recommend this. I don't even know why I waited to read it so long, because it's just an awesome book. It's actually pretty short. You guys know I like short books. I think it goes up to like 330 something or whatever, which is perfect for me. And it's action packed and exciting, even if it's like mentally exciting. I'm not saying nobody's gonna be chasing somebody through the woods or anything like that, but it's just exciting throughout the whole thing. So again, I'm happy that I read this one and highly recommend this book. Okay, so the next book is called, I always forget how to say it, so I have to actually read it. It's called The Bones at Point No Point. And it's by an author named D.D. Black, and he has a whole series called a Thomas Austin crime thriller. Like, he has a series of books. I think there's like 6 or 7 of them. This actually, I was excited about this book because this is actually one that my sister had read already. She recommended it. And my sister actually knows this author, and she like used to go to these writing conferences and stuff. And so she met him, and he gives tips out to people and everything, and he's just like a really cool guy. And plus he's from Washington State, which is where I'm from. So I was really excited to read this. You guys, if you like crime thrillers, you got to read this book. And I haven't read the rest of the series already, but I highly recommend it. It gets like really excellent reviews. This guy was like, he's like a I don't know if you call it independent author. Like, he's not like a Freedom McFadden or anything, but he's like getting there because people just like love his stuff. And now he even has, like, you can buy all this merch and stuff online. He's just getting like really popular. So you guys, I'm telling you, get this hot off the press while it's hot. D.D. Black. I think he has another name, but that's like his pen name or whatever. But anyway, if you like crime thrillers, again, I highly recommend this to you. I will tell you, I'm going to give you a little alert that the serial killer in this book is called the Baby Butcher or something. I can't really remember, or something like that. So the Holiday Baby Butcher, if that like triggers you or something, that, because this author is like, it's no holds barred. I mean, if it's a baby that's getting killed or whatever, he doesn't go into any gory details or anything like that, but it is, that this serial killer actually kills babies. So that's something that bothers you or something, I don't recommend this book. But it didn't like bother me or anything, but I just want to put that out there. And so anyway, so what takes place is Thomas Austin is like a retired detective he's like from New York or whatever. And he had a wife that was a DA or something, and she ended up getting murdered or something like that several years ago. And so he wants to get away from it all, or whatever, and he moves to Washington. I think she might be Washington, or he's lived there before or something. But anyway, he's just retired and just living his life. He owns some little cafe or whatever that sells bait and stuff in this little beach town in Washington. And so he's just trying to keep quiet and everything. And so all of a sudden, these murders that happen, that the person that did those murders, it's actually a woman. This is actually on the summary on the back. She is in prison. And so, he's moved away trying to get his life together and everything. And so the same kind of murder to babies, and she leaves a very distinct, like she leaves the bones in a bag or something like that. Those same type of murders start happening, like copycat killer. And so the local in Washington State police department or whatever, detectives, they call in him as an expert consultant or whatever, since he worked on the case years ago where the serial killer is already in prison. And so he's like, I don't really want to do whatever. And then they know he's like the expert. And he's like, I got to. And so he gets involved in everything. And you guys, this book, man, I can't believe I'm sitting here saying that all these books are so good. But this book is another one I highly recommend, especially if you like crime, if you're into crime thrillers, which I really am right now. I didn't think I would be, but I've read some other ones, like the one by S.A. Crosby and stuff. And I really like crime thrillers. I like it when there's a cop or detectives and all that kind of stuff. And so this one, wow, there's like a serious plot twist in the end. And I don't know, if you think real hard, you might be able to guess it. I don't know, but serious plot twist at the end. It's really cool. I really like the characters and how they, this author, D.D. Black, he describes the characters so you feel like you're there. You feel like you know them and everything, but he doesn't draw it out so that the book is just like 1,000,000 pages long, or whatever. He just keeps it to the point, but yet you know who the characters are. So I really like that. It's also not like 50 characters where you got to try to keep up with all these people and it gets all confusing. Also, although they're cops and detectives, they're not using so much of that kind of jargon where you can't really understand it. The book it's a really easy read actually, but this book is good, you guys. It's action packed. I would say, like, if you like chasing and all that kind of stuff, that's definitely in this book. It's just really, if you like books like about serial killers, sometimes I don't like to admit that, but I actually do. That's kind of movies that I watch and stuff. You will really love this book. Good plot twist at the end. And again, I've never seen a video or heard anybody even talk about this author, D.D. Black, on YouTube. But I am seeing, like, on social media, he's starting to get like real popular. And then my sister was like, oh, this book is so good. And so I highly recommend you check this out and probably check out the whole series. I know that's what I'm going to do. And the series is also on Kindle Unlimited. So I'm also excited about that. Okay, so the next book, like I said, I got some Kindle reads or whatever. This one was actually recommended several times by subscribers, so thank you. And it's called Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. Alice Feeney has been recommended a lot. I think she's the author of Daisy Darker, which has also been recommended and is also on my TBR. But this book, wow. Okay, it's really, 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 really good. Except I will say the ending was a little disappointing to me, but I still recommend that you read it, but just know, in my opinion, I think she went a little cheap on the ending. I think she maybe ran out of ideas. But anyway, so what the story's about, again, no spoilers. It's a couple, a husband and a wife, and the wife won a little vacation at a little cottage or whatever, way far away out in the sticks somewhere. It's a place they never heard of, where they never been. But she won it in some raffle, and she's got like some email from somebody that was the raffle prize. And so they're like, hey, let's go. Their marriage is not that good. They've been married for a couple years or whatever, but the marriage is, or several years maybe, but the marriage is not that great. But they're hoping that this little trip away from everything will help them, mend things back together. In this story, there is, it flashes back like to a diary where the wife is writing letters to her husband each anniversary, and but she never shares these letters with him. She just kind of like writes stuff. And so this is how you kind of see like background story about what has happened. And so anyway, they get to the cottage. It's in the cottage, I keep calling it a cottage, but it's like a chapel. And what it is an old church building. And they get there, it's just all creepy, it's old fashioned, it's dusty, it's dirty, it's musty, it's damp. Anything you could think of about some old, creepy church building or whatever. They get there and like the doors are locked or whatever and they can't even get in, and they go around the back, and then by the time they get back to the front, the doors all of a sudden open, and just like all this creepy stuff. So I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're the type that likes kind of like scary things, noises, things that go bump in the night, seeing things, people peeking in windows and all that kind of stuff, this is definitely the book for you. I didn't know that Alice Feeney wrote like this. I thought like maybe her books was just like straight up psychological thriller, but no kind of like spooky or horror like stuff in it. But it is. There's even like a component about witches in this book. And I won't say that it gets real deep into that, but witches are mentioned. Hearing noises, hearing somebody say your name 3 times, and all that kind of creepy stuff that I actually really love. But I don't know if you guys are like fraidy cats or whatever. Maybe you might not want to read this book. But so in this chapel that they're staying in, it's like the light, it's a snowstorm. Lights are going out, that, there's no heat. They got to put a fire in the fireplace. There's this old crypt that they call it downstairs. I guess that's the same thing as a wine cellar or whatever. This actually takes place in, I also want to say it takes place in, I believe, the United Kingdom. Yes. No, they actually, I think where this chapel is actually like in Scotland or something. Something like that. I don't know, whatever. It's not in the United States. Anyway. And so there's a creepy wine cellar or whatever. And like at one point they went down there with like either the wife or the husband, and they heard somebody say their name and all this kind of stuff. And doors are locking. Most doors in the chapel are locked. Just all kinds of just creepy stuff. And so you're like really just sitting there like thinking, I don't know what's going to happen. At one point somebody sees like some eyes looking in the window at them, all that kind of stuff. Then there's also like a cottage that somebody actually lives in that's like 30 minutes walking distance away. So just, you have to keep that in mind and everything. So all this like stuff, scary stuff starts happening and stuff, and they don't know. You're sitting there wondering like, okay, so somebody's going to be the killer. Somebody's out to get somebody. They say in the book only one of them is going to return home, and all this kind of stuff. And you're like sitting there wondering the whole time. I mean, it really gets in your mind. You're like wondering, okay, so who is it going to be or whatever. And so the husband is a writer. He he takes other authors' novels and turns them into like movies or something like that. And he's like somewhat successful at it, but at the same time, there's things about him that he has a low self-esteem about his writing, script writing, and all that kind of stuff. And then the wife works at like a dog grooming place. Like she doesn't have like a career, a big time flashy career like her husband or whatever. And so anyway, they're just like getting at each other. Sometimes they get along, sometimes they don't or whatever. And you're just sitting there wondering all the time, okay, so what's going to happen? There's other people involved. Like I said, somebody lives in a cottage down the way. When it flashed back, there's a friend also that works at the dog grooming place, and just all kinds of stuff. So it really keeps you going. There is a major plot twist, or maybe several plot twists in the book. And Alice Feeney is supposed to be known as the queen of plot twists, which is what really got me excited to read this story. And I mean, you guys, this book, I was like, when I was sitting there going through it and reading, I'm like, okay, this is actually definitely in my top 10 books, I'll say. I was like, this book is great. I was like, they were right about Alice Feeney, oh, wow, and all this kind of stuff. And I was just really excited. I read this book like really quick, like maybe like in 2 or 3 days, which is like a record for me. And so I kept going and going, and it was getting good. Then finally at the end, the ending stopped so abruptly that I thought, I was reading it on my Kindle. I'm like, wait a minute, something's wrong with my Kindle. And so I went back, I was going like in and out, back and forth. I was like, this can't be the end. And when you scroll over whatever, you got to the acknowledgments or something like that. And Alice Finney's like, I thank my mom and my dad, whatever. I was like, what? So I went back in and I said, okay, maybe something's just like wrong. And I went back, I went on Amazon. I was like, how many pages is this book supposed to have? And everything matched up. And the book really ended like that. And the ending was it's probably like one of the worst endings of any book I ever read. I really hate to say that because the rest of the book was so good. So the plot twist was good, but then when she tried to like get it going after that or whatever, after the plot twist, it's like she just really couldn't think of anything else to write or how to end it. It just went, ended like bam, just like that. Just like, I was like, what? And I just couldn't even believe that was the end. But I just want to put that out there. Like, again, like I say, rock, paper, scissors. It's a great book. the ending I felt could have been better, but I still recommend that you read it. And also still thank you guys for recommending it to me. I have no regrets about reading it, but like I said, the ending just like, eh. So that's the end of the books that I read for April. Like I said, I had a really good month so far. I will tell you guys, I have started another book on my Kindle, and it is called Murder Road. And I'm pretty positive I mentioned in another video that it was on my TBR or whatever. Because I didn't even realize that I had already like downloaded it on my Kindle like way ahead of time or whatever. The author is Simone St. James, and this, I'm pretty positive this author and or this book was recommended by one of you all. So thank you again. And the book is really good so far. Again, it's another book that has something to do with like driving down a road or something, but I do like those kind of stories. It's going good so far, but anyway, when I finish it, I'll give you guys a review on that. But anyway, so yeah, that's the books I read in April. Again, if you guys have any recommendations for thrillers, you guys kind of see what I like right now. Go ahead and drop those in the comments. Also, let me know what books you've read in April as well. Also, not just books, let me know about authors. Like if there's some kind of consistent author who makes good books like Frida McFadden or something like that, let me know about those authors as well. And as you guys see, I used to only read like Frida and Riley Sager, and I'm really expanding my territory right now. So I'm like kind of like really proud of myself. But anyway, yeah, that's the end. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe and also click on the notifications so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And if you like this video, thumbs up. I'll see you in the next one.